if you are someone like me who has often appreciated a taskbar on the top or on the right-hand side, this is no longer an option. What we are going to need is a third-party program called ExplorerPatcher to be able to achieve that. To get ExplorerPatcher, you're going to want to go to GitHub. You can just search ExplorerPatcher. You're going to find a link to GitHub. I'll put a link in the description down below. Now, if you've never used GitHub before, don't let it scare you. It often can look intimidating if you're not like a coder or that kind of thing, or very tech savvy. Myself, I find GitHub very overwhelming to look at, but if what you need to know as just sort of a normie user is that many applications that you can find on GitHub, if you scroll, you will eventually find a section called releases or assets or something to that effect that will give you oftentimes a downloadable exe what you want. Now, here we have ExplorerPatcher setup and ExplorerPatcher setup ARM64. If you're using a Copilot Plus PC, you have an ARM Windows computer, in which case you're going to want this second one. If you, like me, are using a more traditional version of Windows that is not on ARM, then you will want to download this one here, right? Now, I've already downloaded it, so I'm not going to actually download it, but I am going to show you a way to find out whether or not you are using an ARM-based Windows or not. So we're going to go to Home, okay? So you're going to want to go into Settings, and then you're going to want to go to About. Search for About, then click About Your PC. Okay. Under System Type here, it's going to say, in my case, a 64-bit operating system, an x64-based processor. So in that case, you're going to use this first one. If in here it says an ARM-based processor, then you want to use the one that says ARM. When in doubt, if your computer is more than 5 years old, it's probably not using ARM. Okay, so we can close this out. And we can minimize Firefox here. So I've already installed ExplorerPatcher. So I'm going to go right click onto here. Now, because I've installed it, when I click properties here, I'm actually going to be opening the ExplorerPatcher. So right now it's set to the Windows 11 default taskbar style. You've got all kinds of options for the File Explorer, the Start menu. You can change a lot of things to make it feel more like Windows 10 or a previous version of Windows that you prefer. So I'm going to switch this to Windows 10 ExplorerPatcher. Boom. Okay, now no changes that when you go through this list will be visible until you click Restart File Explorer down here. So you're going to want to press that to be able to see. So I'll just show you here. I'll press Restart File Explorer. Give it a moment. Boom, we're already noticing differences. See, you can see that the button here looks more like the Windows 10 button, and this is looking a bit more Windows 10-ish, but we're not finished yet. As promised, you can move this taskbar anywhere that you like. Now, in older versions of Windows, I could just drag it. But instead here, we need to tell it where we're going. So primary taskbar location on the screen, it says bottom, which is the default. I like it on the right because when I'm using this, I have a MacBook as well, and it has sort of a square screen. And on a square screen, you suddenly realize you don't actually need so much width along here. You know, if you're reading documents, if you're browsing, writing documents, or even editing videos and things like that, it's often more handy to have a taller space than a wide space. Wide space is handy for gaming and watching content, but other than that, tall space is actually kind of better. So because of that, I want to utilize every inch of the height versus the width. So I actually find it more useful to put this on the side because I can get the maximum height. So I like to put it on the right. So we're going to say Restart File Explorer. Boom. Now we have a taskbar on the side. Boom. Isn't that awesome? Okay. So we can also, if you want to get, let's say you have a very small screen, you want to use the most real estate on the screen as possible, what you can auto hide the taskbar. You can do this actually in the settings menu in Windows as well. If you go to, again, taskbar, you can go into the behavior and you can go to automatically hide the taskbar, and it will disappear. There we go. Whenever you're not using it. And when you move your mouse over that side of the screen, it will come back. So that's handy. You can also block out certain things here. You can show the task view button. I've turned that off automatically to hide the taskbar. That's switched off here, but it's switched on in Windows now, so that's fine. You can change the taskbar button to a Windows 11 button if you actually prefer that. And again, you'll notice that it just updated when I made that change to automatically hide the taskbar. It realized that Windows has that setting. So if I restart again, boom, now we have a Windows 11 style button. If you actually prefer that, that's totally fine. You can combine taskbar items, use all kinds of settings. Another one is I have the large icons. So you can make the default be small icons. Let's restart again. You don't have to restart after each change here. I'm just doing that so I can show you everything. So look, now I have small buttons. You can make changes to your start menu as well. You can make the start menu side more of a Windows 10 style, and restart the again. Let's hit our Windows button, and look, that looks more like a Windows 10 style start menu. Now, I will say, if you want to get into customization of the start menu, and maybe I'll do a whole separate video about this, what I would actually recommend, oh, there we go, we've got our buttons back. What I'd actually recommend is another application called Open Shell, and I would search menu. There's a lot of things called Shell. So this is Open Shell. There used to be an application called Classic Shell to bring some of these features back, and OpenShell is sort of an open source continuation of that. And you can use it to customize your start menu even further, make it more of a Windows 7 style, or even a Windows 9X, like 98, 95 kind of look as well, if you prefer that. So that's a little more customizable as far as that goes.